In the last lecture, you learned about how you can fetch the data from an API and then display it on the view. And we did that, and it's displaying perfectly fine. But let's take a look at our component. Now, this component is called the app component. And if we had to display the same exact data, same exact view with the photo and the title somewhere else, then we'll have to copy all of this code again and again. So it would be a good idea to create a designated component which is only responsible for displaying these things. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new component. And you can call your component anything you want, right? So I'm just going to call it PhotoList, but this is completely up to you, that whatever you want to call it, all right? Now this will be a React component. So we're going to go ahead and first of all import React, and we will also import component from React. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a class called PhotoList, which extends the component. So this is all the stuff that we have already done before. I will also go ahead and say export default PhotoList. Perfect. The only function that I need to implement, am I required to implement, is the render function, which I'm going to simply return PhotoList. Okay. Now we have the PhotoList. I'm going to go back to the app and try to display it. So instead of doing a UL and all that stuff, I'm just going to go ahead and say, okay, display the PhotoList control. All right. Now, if we do a PhotoList control, it's literally just going to say PhotoList because there's nothing in the PhotoList control or the component. Now you might be wondering that, okay, maybe we can just take out all of this code and all of this stuff and put it in the PhotoList and be done with it. But keep in mind that the whole idea of PhotoList is to simply render or display the PhotoList, not to fetch the photos. And we learned that earlier on, that the architecture and the recommended approach that you should take when you're creating your React application should be that you will have a component and you have some other child components. So this one can be the app component, which we have. And this can be a PhotoList component because it's a child. So I'm just going to call it PhotoList or photo. So app component can load all the stuff, like loading all the photos, all the JSON, and then pass it down to the PhotoList. So the only job of PhotoList is to simply display it, and that's it. So in other words, the app component right now is fetching all the stuff. You can see fetch photos, and it puts it in a state. Whenever it puts it in a state, then the render automatically fires. So over here, we can actually pass the photos down to the PhotoList. We can simply say photos equals to, and where are all the photos? Well, it is inside the state. So this.state.photos. So we're basically using a property, we're creating a property called photos on our PhotoList component and passing it down. So all of this code, we can use it somewhere else now. So now the only responsibility of the PhotoList component is to literally just print out the photos. So I'll go to PhotoList, and inside the render, I will copy paste that code. But over here, do you think it's actually going to just work, or do I have to make some arrangement to make it work? Keeping in mind that the app component is passing photos in the property. So PhotoList will have a property called photos, which will have all the photos. So something has to change right over here. Props. This.props.photos. And over here, we can actually just change it to UL because we are displaying our LI, so it should be much better if we are just using UL. And I will then say photo items, and that's it. Now, if we go, it's going to produce the same exact result. The result is not going to be slow or fast. It's going to be the same exact result, but we have created a PhotoList component. And now if in the future we want to display all the photos, then whoever is loading the photos from wherever, I mean, this can change, right? I mean, maybe I want to display the photos from somewhere else, keeping in mind that it has to have the title and the thumbnail URL, then I can completely change the URL, get the photos, and pass it down to the photo list. And that should do it. That should print out all the photos. So we have refactored this a little bit to make our life a little bit more simpler, because now we have a photo list component, and anytime we want to display a list of photos, and we have a list of photos, we just pass it down to the photo list and be done with it. And the result, as you have seen, is the same exact result. So it's always a good idea to start thinking about reusability when you're creating these components so that you can reuse them later on. And when you're passing data, the flow of the data is from parent to child, and you pass the data using the properties.